Have you ever had the feeling that something isn't quite right? That no matter how hard you try to make choices, to be free, to live authentically, you're somehow playing a role in a story you didn't write? You're not alone, because what if I told you the life you're living isn't really yours? Welcome to a forbidden insight, a truth so subtle, so deeply embedded in the fabric of our lives, that most people never even question it. Yet Alan Watts once hinted at this strange secret, that you are not the actor of your life, but the acted. That what we call free will might be nothing more than a pre-written script, playing itself out with the illusion of choice.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
And today we're going to unravel that hidden truth. But let's be clear, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is something far deeper, philosophical, psychological, spiritual, and disturbingly real. So sit back, because we're going to tear reality apart and ask the question nobody dares to ask: are you living your life, or is your life living you? Imagine this. You wake up one day and realize that every major decision you've made, the job you picked, the people you loved, even the way you dress and talk wasn't really you choosing. It was your childhood programming, your culture, your parents, your fears, your desires, your trauma, all bundled into a neat little package called you. But what is this you? Alan Watts said, trying to define yourself is like trying to bite your own teeth. That's profound, because the self you think you are might just be a performance, a character in a play written by forces you don't control. You didn't choose your name. You didn't choose your genetics. You didn't choose your first language. You didn't choose your early childhood experiences. And yet, all of those things shape what you call yourself. So here's the first question I want you to really sit with. If you didn't choose the foundation of who you are, can you really say you're free? Let's dig even deeper. Let's say you decide to break the script. You quit your job. You move across the world. You start over. But why did you do that? Was it rebellion? Dissatisfaction? A search for meaning? Even that your desire to break free was born from something. Maybe a book you read, maybe a heartbreak, maybe a midlife crisis. So even your escape from the script is part of the script. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because we love the idea of freedom, of individuality. We believe we are the authors of our lives. But what if we're just the readers? Life unfolds, paragraph by paragraph, and we experience the story in real time. We feel the emotions. We make the choices. But the ending was already written in the first chapter. Is that terrifying or liberating? Now, Alan Watts didn't believe this was a trap. He believed this was a cosmic dance, that we are both the dancer and the dance. That the universe is not something happening to us, it is something happening through us. He said, you are the universe experiencing itself, not a puppet, not a victim, but not a separate, isolated ego either. You are an unfolding process, like a wave is part of the ocean. The wave doesn't control its own rise and fall, it is the rise and fall. It is the movement. So maybe freedom doesn't mean control. Maybe freedom means flow. But let me ask you this. If you stop trying to control your life, what would emerge from you? Would you be more authentic or completely lost? Most of us live in fear of losing control. We cling to the idea that we are the decision makers, so that we're responsible for everything. Why? Because it gives us a sense of identity, of power. But what if surrendering that illusion is the beginning of true power? Let's go further. Think about the roles you play. You're a student, a parent, a worker, a citizen, a friend. Each role comes with expectations, scripts, behaviors. You speak differently to your boss than to your best friend. You dress differently at a wedding than at a gym. You become different yous in different settings. But where is the real you? Alan Watts would say, there isn't one. Or rather, there's no fixed, separate, unchanging self behind the masks. The masks themselves are you. Life is a play, and you are the actor. But you're also the stage, and the audience, and the playwright. It's all you. So the real question is not whether you're living a scripted life, but whether you realize you're the one performing it. Here's a thought experiment. If you were born in a different country, in a different era, to different parents, with a different language, religion, and culture, how different would you be? Would you still be you? Who are you without your memories, without your possessions, without your name? Would you still exist if no one remembered you? These questions shape the foundation of our identity. But they also reveal something powerful. You are more than your story. The story is important. It gives context, color, meaning. But the story isn't the whole truth. Alan Watts believed that when we stop identifying with the story, we begin to awaken, not to a new belief, but to a new way of being. He said, the meaning of life is just to be alive. It is so plain and so obvious and so simple. And yet, everybody rushes around in a great panic as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves. Think about that. All your striving, all your goals, all your anxieties. What if they're just noise in the background of something much deeper? What if your actual purpose isn't something you achieve, but something you remember? What if you're not here to become something but to realize what you already are? This is where the forbidden insight comes full circle. You are living a scripted life, but not because someone else wrote it. You wrote it, not the ego you, not the personality, but the deeper you, the timeless, spacious awareness behind all experience. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, chose to experience life as you. You are the cosmic play, pretending to be a person, forgetting itself just for the joy of remembering. So now the question becomes, can you wake up inside the script? Can you play your role fully while knowing it's a role? Can you suffer without clinging, succeed without pride, love without attachment? That's the paradox. That's the dance. To live as if it matters, while knowing it's all a game. And when you realize this, something magical happens. You stop taking yourself so seriously. You laugh more, you love more, you forgive more. Because you realize that behind every mask is the same light, just wearing different costumes. So, yes, your life is scripted, but the point was never to escape the script. The point is to remember you're the author. And maybe, just maybe, that's what freedom really is. The hidden puppeteer, how society programs your every thought without you knowing. If you thought the script of your life was written solely by your childhood, your emotions, or even the subconscious, you're only glimpsing the surface. Because there's a deeper, more insidious author hiding behind the curtain: society. Not as a villain, but as a puppeteer you never knew was pulling the strings. And the most dangerous kind of puppet is the one who believes they are free. From the moment you took your first breath, society began whispering into your mind. But not with words, but with rules, with norms, with invisible frameworks that told you what is good, what is bad, what is success, what is failure, what is beautiful, what is shameful. You didn't question it because you were too young to know there was something to question. You accepted the story like a fish accepts water. And that's the danger. Because when control is invisible, it becomes indistinguishable from truth. You weren't just taught how to live, you were taught how to perceive, how to think. The very architecture of your thoughts, the neural maps that define your reality, were carved not just by your biology, but by a culture that needed you to fit in, to obey, to become part of the machine. You were given a name, a nationality, a religion, a gender identity, a set of values, and you were told, this is who you are. And you believed it, not because you were weak, but because you were human. Because the cost of not believing it was alienation, or rejection, exile. And so you adapted. Slowly, piece by piece, you constructed a mask that matched the world's expectations. A mask so convincing that even you forgot it was a mask. And underneath it, a self that never got the chance to speak. But let's slow down. Ask yourself this: how many of your beliefs are truly yours? How many of your opinions weren't inherited from your parents, your school, your social media feed? You say you believe in freedom, in equality, in kindness, but were these values chosen, or were they absorbed? And more importantly, have you ever tested them? Or have you just repeated them because they feel good, because they're socially rewarded, because they make you feel like a good person? This is where the script tightens its grip. Because society doesn't just want you to follow the rules, it wants you to believe them, to internalize them so deeply that disobedience feels like betrayal not of society, but of yourself. That's the masterstroke. When the puppet loves the strings. Alan Watts warned us, you are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. But society wants you to be consistent. Because consistency is predictable. Predictability is safe, and safety keeps the machine running. But life isn't safe. Life is wild, chaotic, untamed. And so we trade wildness for certainty, authenticity for acceptance, truth for comfort. We become images of ourselves, flattened, filtered, edited to fit the mold. Think about social media. You are invited, no, compelled to perform your identity. But you don't share your doubts, you share your highlights. You don't reveal your confusion, you post your clarity. And so your feed becomes a mirror of the script, a reinforcement loop. You see others performing, and you perform in return. And soon you forget what reality even feels like without the audience. You become the actor and the spectator, applauding your own performance while dying inside from the hunger to be real. But what does it mean to be real in a world that monetizes your identity? When corporations and algorithms profit from your predictability, your preferences, your digital persona, are you the user or are you being used? This is not paranoia. This is reality. Your every click creates data. That data is fed into models. Those models learn how to manipulate you, what to show you, when to show it, how to keep you scrolling, clicking, buying, believing. And the worst part, you think you're making choices. But the menu was curated before you even sat down. This isn't just manipulation, it's manufactured consent. Consent to a reality you didn't design. Consent to a life you didn't choose. And so the question must be asked, if your desires were programmed, are they really yours? Let's go deeper. Education. From kindergarten to university, you're trained to memorize, not to question. To pass, not to wonder. You're rewarded for compliance, punished for curiosity. You're told what the world is, not invited to explore what it could be. Creativity is tolerated only within boundaries. Originality is celebrated only if it fits within accepted paradigms. And slowly, the child who once asked why 100 times a day becomes the adult who asks what's next. What's safe? What's expected of me? And we call that maturity. But is it really? Or is it domestication? The taming of the human spirit in exchange for belonging. And yet, we need society. We are social beings. We cannot exist in a vacuum. So this isn't about rejecting society, it's about seeing it clearly, but about noticing the strings before they strangle you. Alan Watts once said, "The more a thing tends to be permanent, the more it tends to be lifeless." And society loves permanence. Labels, categories, definitions. But life is fluid. You are fluid. You are not a noun. You are a verb, a happening, a process. And no label can capture your essence. So why do you keep clinging to them? Here's the truth. Society's script is not evil. It's just unconscious. It evolved to protect order, to prevent chaos. But in doing so, it often kills the very spark that makes life worth living. The question is, are you willing to light that spark again, even if it burns down everything you thought you were? Because awakening isn't comfortable. It's not a peaceful meditation by a waterfall. It's a violent shaking, a breakdown of illusions, the death of the false self. You will lose your identity, your certainty, your comfort. But in that death, something ancient is reborn, something wild, something free. You begin to think for yourself not reactively, but reflectively. You begin to notice your thoughts as clouds, not commands. You begin to question everything, not with cynicism, but with wonder. You stop asking, "What should I do?" and start asking, "What is true?" And slowly, the script starts to crumble. Not all at once, but moment by moment, until one day you wake up, look around, and realize you're no longer living someone else's story. You're writing your own. But writing your own story is terrifying, because there's no template, no guarantee, just a blank page and the trembling hand of freedom. And yet, that's where life begins. In the unknown, in the mystery, in the sacred space between what was and what could be. Alan Watts described it beautifully. You are an aperture through which the universe is looking at and exploring itself. You are not a mistake. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are the cutting edge of consciousness, unfolding in real time. And society can't program that. It can try, it can pressure, it can seduce. but it cannot touch the core of who you are unless you let it. So here's the challenge. Can you live in society without letting it live through you? Can you play the game without believing it's real? Can you wear the mask without forgetting your face? Can you speak the language of the world while still hearing the silence beneath it? This is the forbidden insight. The world is a stage. The roles are written. The costumes are chosen, but the awareness behind it all is free, eternally free. And that awareness is you. The awakening within the illusion, how to break free without escaping the world. So here we are. You've seen the script. You've met the puppeteer. You've tasted the bitter truth that much of your life isn't truly yours, but a performance molded by unseen forces, childhood conditioning, societal expectations, even the subconscious mind. And now comes the hardest part. What do you do with this awareness? Do you run from the world? Escape into solitude? Abandon your relationships? Sever every social tie? Do you burn the script and live as a walking contradiction, a rebel without a cause? Or is there another way? A path so subtle, so powerful, that it doesn't ask you to flee the illusion, but to wake up inside it. This is where Alan Watts' forbidden insight reaches its final depth. Because the end of the illusion isn't destruction. It's liberation, not from the world, but within it. The goal is not to escape the play, but to remember you are the actor who forgot they were acting. And from that remembering, you gain the greatest power of all, the ability to play your role fully and beautifully without being trapped by it. Let's be brutally honest, the illusion will always be there. Society will still expect things from you. Your mind will still generate thoughts. Your emotions will still rise and fall. People will still project onto you. The world doesn't stop spinning just because you've woken up. But something profound does change your relationship to it all. You begin to realize that most of what you once called problems were actually just misidentified experiences. You thought they were happening to you. Now, you see they're happening through you. You thought your emotions defined you. Now, you observe them like changing weather. You thought your thoughts were facts. Now they're just clouds passing through the sky of awareness. You are no longer caught in the drama of the script. You're aware of the stage it's being performed on. This shift in perception is not a trick. It's not detachment. It's not indifference. It's not some cold spiritual bypassing. It's the deepest form of engagement. Because now you're not reacting out of fear or programming, you're responding from clarity, from presence, from truth. You start to live deliberately. You begin to question everything, not to rebel, but to understand. Why do I work this job? Why do I believe this idea? Why do I feel anxious around certain people? Why do I chase approval? You don't condemn the answers. You explore them. Like a scientist studying the inner workings of a machine. And in that exploration, the machine starts to dissolve. Not because you destroy it, but because you outgrow it. You stop trying to fix your life, and you start living it. You stop needing others to validate you, and you begin to validate your own experience. You stop chasing the next milestone, and you begin to taste the richness of now. Alan Watts once said, "Muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone." That's the paradox of awakening. The more you try to force it, the more entangled you become in the very illusion you're trying to escape. But when you see it, without judgment, without resistance, without labeling it as good or bad, something opens. A quiet spaciousness, a stillness beneath the noise. And in that stillness, the illusion loses its grip. But here's the catch: enlightenment, awakening, realization, whatever you want to call it, isn't a destination. It's not an achievement. It's not something you get and then hold onto forever. It's a moment-to-moment remembrance, a returning, again and again, to the truth that you are not the script. You are the awareness watching it. And from that place, something miraculous happens. You begin to rewrite the script, not by force, but by presence. You choose different reactions. You speak more honestly. You love more vulnerably. You listen more deeply. And you trust more fully. And these small shifts ripple outward. They change the quality of your relationships. They transform the energy you bring into the world. They create a new life, not because the world changed, but because you did. You no longer need to escape the world to be free, because you've found freedom within it. And so, the question becomes, how do you live in alignment with this truth, moment by moment, in a world that constantly tries to pull you back asleep? The answer isn't complicated, it's simple. But simplicity is the hardest thing for the conditioned mind to accept. You practice awareness. You slow down. You pause before reacting. You make space for silence. You watch your own thoughts without identifying with them. You create rituals that bring you back to presence. You let go of needing to be right. You forgive more easily, not because others deserve it, but because you do. You stop measuring your worth by your productivity. You start measuring your life by your presence. You engage with people not as roles or labels, but as sacred mirrors of yourself. You find beauty in the ordinary. You laugh at your own seriousness. You make mistakes and you learn from them without shame. You embrace uncertainty not as a threat, but as a playground. You tell the truth, even when your voice shakes. You take responsibility for your life without blaming the past. You let your heart break open again and again until love becomes your natural state. And above all, you remember. Every single day you remember, you are not your thoughts. You are not your past. You are not your job. You are not your identity. You are the awareness in which all of it arises. You are the dreamer, waking up inside the dream. You are the silence behind every word, the stillness beneath every action, the void from which form emerges and returns. You are the universe, in human form, pretending to be a person for a little while. So live, fully, fearlessly, play your role in the grand theatre of existence. But never, not for a moment, forget who you really are. Because the forbidden insight was never meant to trap you. It was meant to set you free. And now that you've seen it, now that you've felt it, there's no going back. You've woken up inside the script. And that is the beginning of everything.